Welcome to another conversation in the FM Expert series. Today I am joined by Deborah Rowland. Deborah, hello and thank you for doing this.
Hello.
For those of you watching, I've been trying to get Deborah to do this for a while, so I'm very pleased she's with us. Deborah is the Director of Public Sector Affairs at Sodexo. We were just working out, and we reckon you've been in FM for probably over 30 years. Something like that.
Old.
Well, I did just say that. We're not going to talk about age, but I did just say that, everyone. I did. Deborah is going to share with us today some really exciting news. It was, depending on when you're watching this conversation, obviously, but we're recording this on the 11th of June, 2024. And today, I think, was it announced today or yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
It was today officially. Deborah has launched the Deborah Rowland Scholarship. I'm not going to fudge the wording around it, so I'll hand over to you. But it's a really significant thing in the world of FM, and it's a fantastic initiative. So I am going to just sit back, I think, and enjoy this.
Let me roll.
Yeah, Deborah, over to you.
Thank you. So I just thought I wanted to share a little bit about the fact that I've had a very long and illustrious career in FM, starting from the very beginnings of being an assistant facilities manager, working my way through all sorts of different roles, both private and public sector. I've been on all sides of the FM coin as well. I've been a consultant, I've been a supplier, and I've been a client, so I've kind of seen the whole life cycle of FM, I guess is good to say, and it's been brilliant, and it's been a brilliant career. It's been a great profession, and I've made so many wonderful friends, and there's some really brilliant people in here in this place. And I really wanted to share that, and I've always wanted to share it with people, how great a profession it is, because a lot of people don't actually know what facilities management is, and we still go bang the drum on that one. But it can give so many people such a great start in a career that can take them absolutely anywhere. I mean, I now do public affairs. I never thought I'd end up in that space, but that's what I do in an FM company. But I love it because I tie up all the things that I know. So my knowledge of public sector and FM.
Yeah, so let's park there for a second.
Yeah.
When you say I now do public affairs, what does that mean? Give us a
so
summary.
My public affairs role really encompasses I manage our government relationship, because Sodexo are a strategic supplier to government, and we do a lot of public sector work. So I manage that relationship between government and Sodexo, and make sure that we can we're aligned to all their policies, any government policies, that we can influence on government policies, on things that are important to us. We've done a lot of influence in the social value space, because that's something that Sodexo are very proud and very keen to be part of. So we did a lot of influencing to make sure that was in the new procurement rules that are now up and running. So yeah, it's an influencing, it's a relationship role. It's also really monitoring the political space. So oh my God, this week I'm busy. Manifestos coming out left, right, and centre. Yeah. About to read the Conservative one today that's just landed.
Yes.
So it's all about making sure that we work within the realms of political parties as well. We've actually had to do a lot of influencing with the Labour Party, as you can imagine, as others have done. But I've been doing that for the last 2 years. So so it brings together my experience of working in government, which I was lucky that I spent time working in government, so I understand how they work, which is they are a bit strange sometimes, so I understand the way they work, how you need to work with them, and then I can bring the impacts of that and the analysis of that back into Sodexo, and vice versa, and from an influencing point. So it's great. I love it.
Well, I think it's fascinating, and it's certainly nothing I've ever, with my experience, been involved in. But you think back to 30 years ago, assistant FM, in your wildest dreams, you just this role would never even have. It would never have been there, would it? It's.
I didn't even know what public affairs was then. So no, absolutely not. No.
And before you tell us about the scholarship, just what started the assistant FM job? How come you even went for that?
How did I get there? That's an interesting point. And I think, like a lot of people, I landed in FM, not really necessarily a career of choice at that time. Not many people actually knew what FM was, including me. I think I saw an advert in the. I was made redundant from BT. Then I went and took a year off travelling, as people do. Well, they still do now, but now they do it straight from university. I did it in between jobs. And then I came back and I thought, oh my God, what can I do?
Yeah, that's exactly the same as me. That was exactly my route.
and I saw this job advertised, because they in those days they used to advertise it in the Evening Standard, and it was for an assistant facilities manager. I don't know what that is. Kind of looked into it, but I thought it sounds interesting. It's organising things. I'm good at organising things, so let me go for that, because I'm sure I can organise a few things around buildings. I'm sure I can do that. And that was it. And so that's how I started it. But that actually then opened my eyes into facilities management, because I didn't know what it was. So I started looking, and I was really enjoying the job at L'Oreal. I really loved doing it. And then I think they literally just started a diploma course, which was done with BIFM at the time. And so I started doing a diploma in BIFM, and I was lucky to get some sponsorship from my employer, which was L'Oreal initially, and then that kind of grew, and so I did more and more, and as I grew and got to know more about FM and learn more about FM, and I found I was very much competing in it then in a very male dominated world. Sure. Thankfully that's changed, and we've got some great women in FM now, and it was all surveyors. Basically, they were all surveyors and all men. And I thought, well, okay, what am I going to have to do to compete, to get on in this world? And then they were doing, there was quite a few then, more then than there is now, university degrees, master's degrees in FM. And so I actually picked one that was in a surveying school, because I thought, actually I need to compete in their space. So I did a master's degree at University of the West of England, and did it part-time because I was still working. And that took me through to my next stages of my career then. And then I was TUPE transferred. To which then went into my dissertation all about TUPE, because I was learning that as I was going along. I was TUPE transferred to Simons under the illustrious leadership of Oliver Jones.
Okay. He's done one of these conversations,
Has he? And he took me under his wing, luckily, and then I carried on growing and learning more about FM and building and property and all of that. Carried on with my degree. And eventually, I got my degree and moved on again to several different roles after that. But my degree and my qualifications that I started in BIFM definitely got me in the roles that I then moved on to. Hence why I want other people to have that chance.
And you've always been passionate. Our paths have crossed so many times, and you've always been passionate about education, qualifications, upskilling. So I think this is a perfect segue. So tell us about it.
So the scholarship was born out of the fact that I needed to do more. I wanted more people to have a chance to actually, because I think I've been very lucky that I've managed to get a lot of sponsorship throughout my career. For the employers that I've worked for have all been fabulous in sponsoring me, but not everyone has that chance. They might not even be working for an FM organisation, and it's a career that they just want to start because they're in something that might be related, and it could be that, I don't know, they could be a plumber, they could be an electrician, could be a chef, could be anything, cleaner. It doesn't matter where you are. You could start from any base point as long as you're interested in it. And so I thought it's open to, it really is open to people who haven't got any sponsorship or cannot afford it themselves to do it, and they see themselves as a career, or they could be actually in an FM role but maybe a junior role, and the company could be an SME, it could be a charity, they might be a veteran, it could be an ex-offender. It doesn't actually matter where they come from, what their basis point is, but they've got to really demonstrate that they want to achieve a qualification, which will then give them a career in FM. So I've had a fabulous career in FM. I want someone else to have a fabulous career in FM, more than one person to have a fabulous career in FM. So it's really to give someone a head start who might not have that opportunity that I've been lucky enough to have in my career. So that's where it all comes from.
It's amazing. So there's 2 opportunities each year.
Okay. We're hoping to grow it, though. We're hoping that the point of it will be that we're going to open up the scholarship so other people can, put funds into it. Because the more funds that we can get into it, the more people we can put through it. So this year it will start with myself and IWFM co-funding the 2 awards. But we want it to grow. we want this to be the vehicle for the FM industry to throw money at, so we can actually really have more talent coming through and really open the eyes of people that won't necessarily have an opportunity otherwise.
Yeah, I hadn't picked up on that when I was reading the stuff today.
No, we haven't. We didn't say it specifically, only because it's so new and we've just launched it. Literally, we've got to set up the Just Giving page, and that needs to be sorted out with the banks and things.
Yeah.
So that is being sorted out. So there'll be a second sort of press release around how you can then fund it as well.
Right.
Because this a lot of people they want to give and they don't know how to. And actually, if we've set this vehicle up and it's up and running, and someone can say, actually, that's what I want to do. I want to give into that, but it's already set up for you. So all you've got to do is send over your money, basically.
Yeah.
And so we're going to, make sure it's a vehicle that other people can really input to.
Yeah. And how I've got so many questions. How you're going to get, I would imagine, a lot of people, because I mean, I train, 1,500 people a year, and a lot of the people I train are in the charity sector, and some of them would love this. They don't, I talk about FM, but it's all new and they haven't got the funding, etc.
Exactly.
I can imagine you would get a lot of people applying. How does it get decided who, because that's a sort of funnel process. It's got to happen.
Yeah. So the applications are going to go in, first of all, into the IWFM, and they've set up the landing page for you to put in your applications. You've just got to prove it, and then we've got a judging process, basically. Okay. I mean, it'll be great if it's really, really popular. We just don't know at this moment because it's the first time we've run it.
It'll pick up traction, won't it?
Yeah, how popular it's going to be. So the more the merrier. To be honest, but I've got a panel ready of really illustrious judges. All set up, ready to do the judging, and we've got some criteria, and that's all be explained to those that are applying. What they need to demonstrate, really, and it's more. You don't need to be an academic. You don't need to come from an FM background. You just need to prove the drive and the passion to want to do it and finish it. We want you to commit to it. We want you to become a role model for others to do it as well, and we want to help take you into that career and help you through some mentoring as well, and connecting you and growing you in the career that we want everyone to have.
And I think that is the thing that's really interesting about it, is it's not only putting the person through a qualification, and they'll have to, like you say, they have to be hungry for it because they've got to work for it. They've got to work for it.
They've got to do the work.
Yeah,
and they might be working already. So, and I know this firsthand, working and doing a qualification at the same time. And you would know this, Beth, as well. Yeah. It's not easy. So you do need to be driven to do it.
Yeah. But they get mentored, and I think that's
they do get
a critical
mentored,
thing. So you've got set up some, you were saying before, some really fantastic people in the industry who are going to just kind of hug them on the way and open up opportunities, and that I think is a really, really important. So fantastic. Talk about your motivation, apart from the fact that qualifications for you, like I say, you've always been passionate for decades about this. What else is driving this for you?
Well, unfortunately, I've got some health issues myself, so I'm not going to be around forever, and I just wanted to leave a bit of a legacy, to be honest. If it's something that this will carry on beyond me, hopefully. But I wanted to start it. In fact, my husband said, because we had the idea, me and my husband were talking about it, and we had the idea of doing it when we've been going through things like wills and such, like, because we've had to do that because of my health issues. And he said, well, why are you waiting until you die? Let's do it while you're still alive, actually, because then you can see it happening. You can see the people getting it. So it was his idea to actually start it. I hadn't thought about actually starting. I thought I'd leave it as a legacy, but actually it's a legacy that I want to start seeing and be able to be part of, which will be fabulous for me, because it gives me something back. And but so it's all really kind of driven from the fact that I need to leave my mark a little bit.
Well, and I think it's an incredible thing. And as you're talking, I'm thinking, people leave money and wills to, cancer charity. I mean, I have, all sorts of different things, but this is something actually I would be really passionate about, to want to support. So that's why I was really interested when you were talking about it. Love it. I think it's fantastic. I think, you being involved in it makes it even more special, because you've just got, so much knowledge and so much information. While I've got you, you know, at the moment it's 2 people who can benefit. Like you say, it will grow. There's no question it will grow. So hopefully that will be, you know, more and more people each year. But there's going to be people who want it and don't get it, you know, who try and for whatever reason don't quite succeed. Share just a couple of things for them if they're watching this thinking, oh, but I really wanted that. What else can they do? You know, give us some more of your knowledge.
Well,
Deborah.
I think you know, really look into the detail of what you can do, what's affordable. If you are working in an FM space, do talk to your employer about this, because there might be some funding available. There might be some other scholarships. There's all sorts of funding things out there that I don't necessarily know about. But I think it's about, you know, do a bit of research. I think if you want something bad enough, you will find a way. And I think you've just got to keep committed to it. Don't just give up because you've maybe hit one hurdle, and actually it'll come up again next year, so you'll have another chance anyway, but hopefully you won't have to wait a year. I think really push it yourself, see what you can get, and start what you can see, even if it's a small step and something that is an affordable small step. Try it in small batches and just do that way. And so just continue to learn. Don't drop the idea just because you didn't succeed in this one. Keep at it.
And don't you think that, you know, being successful in FM is about having a hunger for learning, isn't it? This continuous learning. And like you say, you know, formal qualifications are incredible, but actually just asking questions, you know, watching what people are doing, being interested, you know, all of those things.
I learn every day still. I learn something new every day, because FM is so wide. You never know what's going to be thrown at you. You never know what the dilemma is. You can't prepare for absolutely. You might have some real good base knowledge and understanding, but there'll be something that will come left field that you've not dealt with before, and you learn from that. So and you know what, we have got an industry that people do share in. Even though you might, you know, I've got some great friends that are in a competitive environment, that doesn't stop us from sharing, because we're all actually in the same boat. We're all dealing with the same issues, and actually sharing of best practice is a really important thing. You know, sharing in the communities. IWFM have a lot of communities. There are other communities out there as well. Make sure get involved in the communities, actually, because that's where you make the friends, and you learn a lot as well.
Yeah, and people think, oh, but I don't want to go because I don't know anyone. That's the whole point, isn't it?
You learn, and you learn from them, and you meet some great people, and you know, some of the networks we've got some fabulous networks, like the Risings network, the Veterans network's just kicked off, I think, and so that'll be a fabulous network as well. Lots of networks for people to become part of communities and grow with them, and learn with them, and never upset anyone, because it's an incestuous industry. You never know who you're going to work for.
It's true. The other thing just to add is that I come across a lot of people, particularly those who don't have the title facilities manager, saying, oh, but I don't really work in FM. And I'm like, but you do. You know, you do. And any of the roles you started out describing at the beginning of this conversation, you are part of our sector. You know, you are part of it, and therefore this is relevant to you, isn't it?
Exactly. And if you, that's the thing, you might not have that title now, but do you want that title? Then let's get the qualification that will give you that title. That's where you can aim for.
I am so grateful for your time, but I'm also just so grateful for you, you know, having the idea to do this, and then having the passion and the enthusiasm to see it through, because it will make a difference, Deborah. I mean, it will make a difference to a lot of people. So thank you on behalf of everyone, I'm just going to say.
Oh, thanks, Beth.
And thank you for everything you've done, because you've not just been involved in this and your FM work, but, you know, even back to FM of the Year 2013. You've been involved with RICS. Just finish off by sharing some of the other things you've been involved in, because it really is inspirational.
Exactly. So it's not just about IWFM's great in the UK, and obviously they're the main professional body in the UK for FM. But yes, there are plenty of others. So I've always been involved in RICS. I became a fellow of RICS, probably because of my sort of property connections when I did that MSc. But because it's about widening the network, because you don't want to just become a bit tunnel vision, but also the international community. IFMA, I've always been very proactive with IFMA. I was on the IFMA Foundation as a trustee, making sure that they're encouraging people into the industry as well on a more global scale. And I'm still on the board of IFMA EMEA, so I stay connected to the international community.
And they're really active as well. IFMA,
they are very active. They're very active, really great. And so it's about making sure you stay connected across the piece, because FM is an international industry, and it's out there everywhere.
And it touches everything.
Everything.
Doesn't it? I said in a thing the other day, it literally from the birth to death, there'll be FM involved in that. And then not many industries can say that, can they? So.
No, and I think there was one big turning point during the whole pandemic, when I think people suddenly realised that FM keeps the world turning. Thank goodness they realised that. I mean, I think they've slightly forgotten a bit, and we need to keep reminding them. But they did realise during that point, and that was something I did a lot of influence on with government, making sure that FM were named as the key workers. So that was something that I worked on with them to make sure that they weren't forgotten about, because they're the ones that are going, the cleaners, the hospital porters, all of those. They were keeping the world turning.
They were,
and they were FM.
Which is why the scholarship so important, because we're building this future, aren't we, for amazing people to follow in your footsteps. So thank you very much. I'm going to sign us off, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.